Hey guys, it's the Pretentious Pundits. We're back with another episode, a podcast where we talk about football and we pretend to know what we're talking about. So we are back with the Game Week 3 preview, and I think it's going to be a great. We're just going to get right into it. It's the Game Week 3. I think the first game is Brighton versus Manchester United. I think Fawaz will take it from here.
Yeah, so Brighton versus Manchester United. After a slow start for Brighton, they're on a three-game unbeaten run. They're playing really well, and especially against Newcastle, who looked really good in the first game. They showed like what they can do, even though they lost a man towards the end. And for Man United, I don't know. Like this is the second game, and it's not that late. So once they start winning, they have a good chance to win in this game. So once they win, they can have a good start towards the season. And for formations, Brighton usually use 3-4-1-2 in the Premier League, where Trossard plays as an attacking midfielder and Maupay plays as a striker along with Connolly or someone else. And Manu, I don't know. Last time I predicted a 4-3-3. This time I think again they might go for a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. The lineups, I think Greenwood will start this time. Dan James might come off the bench, and even Van de Beek might start instead of Pogba because he's shown what he can do in the last 2 to 3 games for Man United. And as for the goalkeeper positions, again we don't know. Dean Henderson showed what he can do. He's giving De Gea a good competition. So I don't know. I think Ole might stick to De Gea only for this one. And coming towards the end, I think as a Manu fan, of course, I'll go for a win. But then you can't rule Brighton out, so we never know what's gonna happen. But
Yeah, I
here I'm
mean,
going for a win.
it's going to be a really tough fixture considering
Yeah.
Brighton have come from two really good games. Even though they lost against Chelsea, they still played
Yes,
really well.
they played
So,
really
Yeah.
well.
yeah, but
Yeah,
another
and
interesting game to look forward to is the next game, which is Palace versus Everton. Both teams have really had a really good start to the season. I mean, they won their opening two games and they done it well. Palace beat United last time around, and Everton got a 5-2 victory against West Brom. It was amazing to watch. Uh, I think the game is going to be quite open because both the attacks look really strong, at least for now. Uh, Calvert-Lewin is really someone to keep an eye on because he's been stunning so far. And also, of course,
yeah,
you can't rule out Wilfried Zaha, so it's going to be a battle of both of them, I feel. James is also looking well settled, so that's why I feel like this game is going to be really close. I'm predicting a draw for this one, but you never know because I feel like Palace's defense has been quite good since the start. Tyreek Mitchell has played really well. He's
yes,
playing
Yeah.
in fullback and he's played really well. But Everton are leaking goals, so that's another thing to look at. But I still feel like there's going to be a draw this time around. Uh, Coming to the next game, it is West Brom versus Chelsea, and Yasser is going to cover that.
Yeah, West Brom versus Chelsea. It's being played at Hawthorn, so I think it's an away fixture for Chelsea. I think it's going to be really tough because West Brom play with the five back. They play the five at the back and they make it really hard for teams which come. But then they have lost their first two games and they look really poor in the first two games. But I think they're going to use that as a motivation and try to play really well against Chelsea. But
yeah.
Chelsea have looked really good at midweek. They played against Barnsley. They won 6-0, which was brilliant. Havertz got a hat trick, which
Kai Havertz
has to
hat
be
trick. And
he it has to be
I
great for
have
his
to tell
confidence.
this: Tammy had a brilliant game against Barnsley.
Yeah,
So, who do you think will
yeah,
start
yeah.
Yasser?
Exactly. I think Werner played on the left wing against Liverpool, so I think Lampard is going to repeat that again because we are lacking on the winger front. Because I think Pulisic is still injured, Ziyech is still injured, so he has to resort to either Callum Hudson-Odoi or he's going to pick Mount. And it just looks like every time he's going to pick Mount time and time again. He started the game against Barnsley as well, so he's clearly a favorite.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think Tammy is going to start up top, winger
I
Werner on
think
the
Wenger
wing,
will get a
on the
debut.
left. No, no. Well, Lampard cleared that one. He said that he's just come in yesterday. He's just trained for 1 day, so that's not going to happen. Caballero really performed well in the midweek fixture. So I think if Lampard picks Caballero, I think it's a really bad sign for Kepa because I think he's way down in the pecking order. So
Yeah.
Chelsea are just looking to continue. I think they're gonna trying to bounce back from the Liverpool fixture,
Yeah.
and yeah, we'll
Speaking
see
of
how it goes.
speaking of bouncing back, we have to move to the next game, which is Burnley versus Southampton. Two teams that really have to bounce back. And Fawaz, what do you think about this picture?
Yeah, I mean, Southampton, 2 games in a row they've lost, especially against Spurs, where they looked really well in the first half. Ings got 2 goals in the game, but still Southampton are really lacking after Højbjerg left the team. So their midfield looks kind of weak, and from there, their team gets other teams can exploit really well. That presence is gone. And Burnley, I think, is their second game, so it's a tough game. Burnley also lost their first game, so it's really important for both the teams. Whoever wins might, it will help them towards the end of the season. Like I said for Manu, and like I said for Manu's game also, a win will, just give them a good start. So Southampton have to win if they think of surviving the season, or if they think of a top 10 finish, they have
Yeah.
to win. And Sean Dyche, you know how well he does with his team, so you never know. He's gonna give them a tough game, but I think I'm going for a draw for this one.
Yeah. Coming to the next fixture, this is going to be really interesting because, as I've said before, Leeds look like the new Sheffield, but Sheffield are facing what we think is second season syndrome. Uh,
Yeah,
so the fixture is Sheffield versus Leeds. So, Sirish, what do you think about this one?
In all honesty, I feel like Sheffield have had the start of nightmares for them, and I don't see it getting any better against Leeds because considering that Leeds play such a fast tempo game, and now that players like Lundstrom and all are out of form, and Sheffield have looked lackluster in front of goal as well. I mean, they haven't scored a single goal in their opening two fixtures. I mean, they
Yeah,
came agonizingly close, but still, I'm pretty sure that not scoring a single goal must not do any good to the confidence of the Sheffield forwards. And seeing that, Leeds Muse and McGoldrick had such a brilliant start to last season, it has gone quite the opposite. It has gone the entirely opposite in the opposite direction. The
yeah,
start of this season. I mean, losing 2-0 to Wolves and then losing 1-0 to Aston Villa, whom we all pegged to be relegation contenders. I mean, at no point does that do good to Chris Wilder's men. And I feel like Leeds are in good form. They played really well against Liverpool, and can't really blame them for picking up a loss
I
there
mean,
because
they don't give the opposition team to rest. They don't give
Yeah,
the time to rest, so
constant
they just
pressure.
keep on
yeah,
attacking.
Yeah,
they
Like they
absolutely
play really
don't.
well.
But I feel like Sheffield could learn something from Fulham, the way they performed against Leeds in the second half.
yeah,
Uh,
Yes.
Granted that Leeds do not let any team rest, you could clearly see Fulham taking a controlling interest in the game because towards the beginning and the end of the second half, Fulham were clearly the team in charge, and Leeds were looking relatively lethargic uh, compared to the first half. And this could be a turning point for both teams, as Sheffield must win this since this is the home fixture of them. And Leeds, I feel like you know coming off a good victory against Fulham, like they held on. Uh, I feel like it's going to be a very close game, but I could slightly see Leeds edging it because their form is better, purely because their form is better, and because I don't feel like Sheffield is ready to deal with their fast-paced attack.
They signed a new
And
center back also,
yeah,
Diego
exactly,
Llorente.
yeah,
Llorente. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, Llorente, and this is just going to also Ramsdale. He hasn't looked really confident in goal, so
yeah.
considering that he's going to come up against the likes of Costa, Helder Costa,
Helder
who's in
Costa.
such
yeah,
brilliant form,
Hello
and
Costa.
he can trouble the keeper from any angle,
Yeah.
and he can also trouble the keeper from quite some distance. So that's going to be one interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another interesting fixture is Spurs versus Newcastle. Spurs had an amazing game last time around with Son and Kane dominating. Newcastle not so much. They came up against Brighton and they did not play really well. Sirish, you have the floor.
I mean, to be very honest, this should be an easy win for Tottenham. They should completely wipe the floor with Newcastle, because purely because despite making all these new signings, Newcastle haven't really looked like a rejuvenated side. I mean, they did for they did in their first match against West Ham, where they played really well. But just as you saw in their second game week against Brighton, they got turned inside out by just one player, Tariq
Yeah.
Lamptey, and
Yeah.
he caused them a world of trouble. And I feel like Tottenham have a certain pedigree of players there who are pretty much, uh, tipping the game in their favor. The likes
Absolutely.
of Son, who's in such brilliant form, and
Yeah.
I could honestly see Son continuing with his form. And Kane is always a goal threat.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
never a point in any game where Harry Kane is not a goal threat. I mean, maybe he's relatively dipped off compared to a few seasons back, but there is, like I said, there's never a point in the game where Harry Kane is not a goal threat.
And now
And
considering players like Gareth Bale and Reguilon coming into the side, I think Kane is gonna
exactly,
get more chances to score.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
because you could see the likes of Gareth Bale taking on uh, fast-paced winger role. So you could see him play at the right, maybe replacing the likes of Lucas Moura,
Lucas
who's
Moura.
usually
Yeah.
occupying that role, but hasn't been able to do well so far. I
Yeah.
mean, you saw him getting subbed off against Southampton as well. So, and also Steven Bergwijn hasn't been given a lot of chances, but I feel like given the start against Newcastle, this would be the opportunity he would be looking for to do well pretty much and settle into the Tottenham squad, because we have seen what he can do, capable
Yes.
of playing at this level, and
Yeah.
it's just going to be a tough competition between Lucas Moura and Bergwijn. And I feel like with the likes of Gareth Bale joining, I mean he won't be available till October, but once he is, it's going to be a really tough team choice for Jose Mourinho, because there's just so much depth in that position. And considering that
Yeah.
Dele Alli completely lost his touch,
Yeah.
we could see a bit of a shuffle in the formation or in the
Yeah, for
tactics from
sure.
Jose.
And
So
Dombele has
that,
picked up form recently.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Ndombele has he's been in great form. I mean, the game against Southampton played really well, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's my 2 cents on the situation. But I could honestly see Tottenham wiping the floor with Newcastle.
Yeah. So our next fixture is probably shared. Uh, I mean, game of the. I mean, the match of the game week. It is Manchester City versus Leicester. Now, this match is going to be really interesting. I mean, you're coming up against. I mean, the match is between two champions who played really well. City have started off the season great with a victory against Wolves, but they are playing
Yeah.
Leicester, who come to this fixture with two back-to-back wins. And they've done it in style as well. Last week they beat Burnley 4-2 Leicester, and
Yeah.
their attack is looking really good. I mean, Vardy, Barnes. Barnes didn't start off the season great, but he's looking good now. Their fullbacks, their defense, everything's looking great. But again, they're coming up against Manchester City, who this season I feel will be looking hungry to get something at least, because last season I feel like they just lost their touch, they just lost their chance. They didn't make use of the opportunities that they got, and they just squandered all their chances. But I feel like this season they will be more hungry for wins, especially against sides like Leicester, because they have to prove themselves. So I feel like City might edge out in this one. De Bruyne is looking really good this season. I feel like City will have the edge in this one. What do you guys have to say about that?
I mean, pretty much this is probably going to be a season-defining turn for Leicester. I mean, it's pretty early to say that nothing's guaranteed at this point, but this could probably damage Leicester's confidence coming up against Manchester City, as we've seen. Leicester and Manchester City have both faced off against each other, and the fixtures have been on either side, like they've gone in either team's favor. But
Yeah,
as of now, I feel like City have the upper hand in terms of
Yeah.
there's just no team in the PL that's good enough to match City.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think Leicester are really struggling with the injuries in their defensive area. I think Johnny Evans is out. I think Wes Morgan played the last game alongside Fuchs. I think that's not a very good look when you're going to play against a side like Manchester
City.
City.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really difficult for them. I think their wing backs look really good because Justin and Timothy Castagna have been doing really well,
Yeah.
but their centre back is has been very shaky because NDD is injured now as well. So I don't know whom they're going to turn to at this point. So I think City have the upper hand here because of that. I think the defensive
yeah,
frailties have been huge for Leicester.
yeah. So I think Leicester City, even if City win this one, Leicester have a really good team. Once all the injured players are back again, they signed Cengiz Under also, so they're gonna get more
Yeah,
creativity, more goals this time.
Yeah.
So I think Brendan Rodgers can do a good job with this team.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Uh,
also I feel like since Leicester are on top of the league, it could possibly help their morale a bit. And
Yeah,
coming up against City is never an easy fixture. It's probably every team's toughest fixture on the calendar every season, facing Manchester
yeah.
City. And as much as it pains me to say this, I feel like Manchester City are going to win this. So,
yeah. So coming up to the next fixture, Yasser, I'm looking at you. West Ham versus Wolves.
Yeah, West Ham versus Wolves. West Ham played Arsenal in their last game week. I think it was a decent performance from West Ham. I think they were in the game for majority period. I think they were in the game. They were playing head to head with Arsenal. I think they were actually like it was a great improvement from the previous fixture in the first game week where they looked lethargic. They looked really off the pace, and it was really good to see West Ham put in a fight, but at the end they just came short. Nketiah scored the winner for Arsenal, and it was 3 points for Arsenal. But then it was another disappointing loss for West Ham because they looked like they were in the game and they're gonna get a goal. Antonio got their goal in the first half. I think it is really difficult for West Ham fans to see their club playing this way, and David Moyes again has to turn things around as quickly as possible. On the other hand, you look at Wolves; they played their first game against City, and that has never been easy. That was the first fixture, and they'll obviously be looking to bounce back. They have made a number of signings. They have been very active in the transfer window. They got Yota out of the door, but I think bringing in Nelson Semedo can now push Adama Traore to the right wing. So
yes.
I think it's things are really looking good for Leicester. Jimenez looks in great form. He scored in the previous fixture against City as well, a great header. So I think Wolves look like in pole position to take this win and get their first points on the board.
Yeah. And now for the final fixture before we go into the fixture of the game week, it is Fulham versus Aston Villa. And Fawaz, you can go ahead.
I mean, this looks like the dead fixture of this game week, but let's not rule them out.
Yeah.
Both the teams are
Yeah,
looking to do well. Fulham, especially, what they showed what they can do, what they can do this season in the second game against Leeds. So they played really well, and Aston Villa have been in good form. I mean, I ruled them out for this season, like they're gonna get relegated. But then they signed Bertrand Traore, who scored in his debut in the League Cup. So Aston Villa have won all the games so far they've played this season. I mean, it's a tough game. Aston Villa will go for a 4-3-3, and Fulham will go for a 4-2-3-1, which they've played during the previous two games. It's important for Fulham to win this one because the first two games they lost, and if they want to like fight for a place in the Premier League this season, it's important for them to win. And it's the same for Aston Villa, I could say, because if one of these teams loses, like it's gonna be difficult for them, especially for Fulham because it's gonna be the third straight loss if they lose this one.
yeah,
So you never know. Premier League is so competitive. As the season progresses, all the teams are just fighting to stay or fighting for the top four. So it's really
yeah,
difficult. But then for this game, I think I'm going for an Aston Villa win because they've shown what they can do this season, and they've shown how good they are with their attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is essentially a 6 pointer because at the end of the season they're gonna. I think this is gonna be a huge fixture, and in the way things pan
Yes,
out, I think this is gonna be a huge fixture because these games are the ones which you want to win and you want to get points on the board because at the end of the
yes.
season this is they're gonna just see and it's this is gonna make a huge difference. So yeah, it's brilliant. I think it's gonna be a really good fixture. It's gonna be head to head.
Yeah. Sirish, anything to say?
I mean, I feel like Fulham really need to pick up the pace because right now in their bid to survival, the start hasn't been fantastic whatsoever. And coming up against a newly promoted side in their second game week was perhaps the perfect opportunity to show their bid for survival, but unfortunately didn't go their way. But here's a chance for another relegation content, to face off against another relegation contender. And this probably is their best chance to win a game as of now. And if they do, I mean, they've looked like they're progressively getting better over the game weeks. And if they can keep up this, then I see them picking up the win in this one. Sure, Aston Villa got a win against Sheffield United, but for most of the game they were being dominated. So that just goes to show that what if Aston Villa are not able to deal with the threats of Mitrovic. Um, so
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be a
Agree.
key player in that game, and I could see Fulham winning this game, maybe slightly edging out Aston Villa.
So I guess that's it, guys, for this game week. Before we move on to the final fixture, which is Liverpool Arsenal, which will be for another episode. But it's a really exciting game week to look forward to.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry Hari couldn't join us because he's going to be traveling, and also I've been missing for pretty much the entire episode because I had network issues. But I'm here for the outro. So, anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Make sure you follow our podcast if you haven't already, and if you're new around here, please hit the subscribe button. And as usual, the links to streaming this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast will be down in the description and as well as on in the bio of our Instagram page at the rate pretentious pundits. So yeah, go check that out. And